big we're live. Hey, episode 30, everybody. This Life in Tech. I'm Jason.
And I'm Dan.
Speaking of Thai massages, man, real quick. So apparently there's like this huge human trafficking sex slave Thai ring in the US. And I was reading the news this morning when I was waiting for the shower water to heat up. Because it's cold here, dude. It's 90 in the day and like a true desert. It's anyway. And I guess it extends to all places, man, like Milwaukee.
And how did
Not Las
they
Vegas, not LA, not New York City, not even
with
Atlanta, right?
Milwaukee?
Fucking Milwaukee. I shouldn't laugh, man, because it's fucked up. You know, tricking people to come over here and put them in debt slavery. I mean, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the fact that they did it in Milwaukee.
Because I can't imagine. I mean, I haven't looked at the demographics, but I can't imagine there would be a heavy Asian population in Milwaukee. I mean, it's not, to me, one of those cities that would be considered a melting pot. I think things might stand out a little bit, but then again, that's why they're criminals. They don't necessarily think everything through.
Well, I wonder if they sat back and they had watched like Fargo and they're like, "Oh man, we can get away with this shit. Look at these cops."
I guess I don't know.
Anyway,
Uh,
man. Anyway. So I
wow.
upgraded to iOS 10, man, on my phone and my iPad. Actually, I let Mrs. Pittman do it first. And I haven't done my watch yet. I haven't upgraded my watch. She did, and she is not happy. And I upgraded my phone and my tablet after her, and I'm like, wow, man. There's some nice things about it.
Did you at least save the IPSW so you could go back?
What?
Did you save the IPSW, the iPhone software,
Yes.
so that way you move backwards?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. For my phone, the iPad I don't really care about. I mean, I care about it, but I'll be okay without that for a little bit if I had to do something different, you know? But for the phone,
Right.
yeah, for sure. Um, but here's what's bad, man. Yet another complete UI redo in the workflow. So two things right away really make me stand back and ask, why the fuck would you do this? And if you did do it, which you did, why don't you have some better way to, at least for the first few workflow cycles, help the user through it? Two things. One, unlocking. This one really irritates me. So on my phone, pardon me, I use the fingerprint scanner, okay? And I'm left-handed. So my workflow was when I was using it with my right hand, I would swipe right to get the numeric keypad and put in the pin, right?
hmm
That workflow's gone. Now you have to swipe up and look at your notifications, which they reset, right? They reset. This is point B. I'll get to that in a second. And then you hit the home button and it brings up the keypad.
Nice.
Like, why the fuck would you do that? I mean, why?
Because sometimes people believe change is progress, but not when it's change for change's sake. I
Well,
mean, I don't understand what. I mean, are they trying to make it more Android-like? Because I think I think on my Android devices, let's fucking just look. Pretty sure. Yeah, I have to swipe up for my Android.
and up is fine for notifications. I don't have a problem with that. And that's how it was. But you can't swipe right to get the numeric keypad to put a pin in anymore. You have to look at the notifications first and hit the home button.
You could probably fix all of this if you just move to Android.
Oh, I know, man. I keep bringing it up, but so here's the thing, man. So, like, I really got
Okay.
into using reminders within a closed Apple ecosystem for task prioritization and management, and it works great, man. If you're in a closed Apple ecosystem, it works. It's phenomenal. But here's the other thing they fucked. They fucked the reminders, and I can't figure out how this got jacked. I don't know if it had to do with like when I actually did the upgrade or what, man. But like half my reminders now, when they pop up with tomorrow. So like, what time is it, man? It's
11:17.
yeah, almost 20 after 8 here for me. So in 10 minutes, a reminder should pop up telling me to look at my email. Okay?
Mhm.
It ain't going to say today on it. It's going to say tomorrow. What the fuck happened to today?
You know, there were several years ago. I want to say it was 2008 or 2009. Um, and this was been like New Year's Day, maybe even the day, maybe it may have even been January 2nd, but it was right around that time. Set the alarm for 5 a.m. because I had an 8 a.m. flight, right?
Mhm.
Well, there was a bug in iOS at that particular time for that day. No one's alarms went off. Missed my flight. I get to the airport because, of course, it's like a Sunday and everyone's in Florida, celebrating holidays, right?
Right.
So, all right, I get there, let's go on standby. Every flight full, like every flight. It got to be, I go and talk to the agent and I'm like, hey, what are the chances of getting anything? And she says, not very likely. I said, okay, well, what happens if I can't get on something today? She goes, well, then tomorrow you have to buy a full price ticket.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how much is that going to be?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, the
$800,
day before.
right? So I went, I've got to work the next day. Let me see how much it's going to cost for a one-way car rental.
Yeah.
$80. I said, I'll just do that. And so basically, after being, New Year's partying, uh, you know, I decided to drive from Miami back to Maryland. And I did it, but because of that iPhone bug, the alarms never went off. Didn't even know about it. Read it on the news like the day later. Bug in iOS software. Alarms still go off on this day.
Well, the thing is, man, is I don't mind change, right? And I'm on board with it, right? But why do you make a change that decreases efficiency or decreases my productivity? That's what I don't understand. And the reminder thing, I think it's a bug. Whatever, man. I can reset my reminders and I'll get past it. I just need to take the time to do that. Okay. But the swipe workflow to me is the equivalent of when malware flips the OK and the cancel button or the yes no button on a prompt, right?
Yeah.
Because I
What
mean,
I heard you say was that Apple iOS was closer to malware. That's what I heard.
oh,
And I agree with that, Dave. It's all malicious software. The MacBook I can deal with, OS X, but for the phone, I I hate iPhones. I hate them with a passion.
well, do you just hate the phone itself, the hardware? Do you hate the operating system? What do you hate?
For me, it's again the as you just mentioned, the workflow changes constantly. I can't adapt. I have to adapt to Apple,
Yeah.
not make the technology that I like adapt to my lifestyle, which is why I like Android. I can make it adapt to the way in which I am most productive. It doesn't matter which operating system it is. I mean, in a lot of ways, our good friend, the Sultan of Snake Oil, he makes a good point in this case that and many of them have been you as well in some of our talks, the overlay should be completely transparent, and be however the user wants. We shouldn't even know what operating system's behind it.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that, man. That's one of the things I've always liked about the concept of window managers in Unix is the operating system is the operating system, and I can make it look however I want from day to day. I can change my mind, uninstall, reinstall, reconfigure. I think that's fabulous. I think that's a big thing,
Right.
man, because then I can customize it to work for me, not against me, and that's how I feel with iOS 10 now, man. Um, what are some other shit? I'm looking at my phone. Oh, dude, this is a big one too, with reminders. But this is a workflow thing. This isn't a bug. So it used to be when your reminder popped up, you could go into the notifications on the lock screen, right?
Right.
And essentially answer it, say you completed it. So what I like to do personally for a workflow is I schedule a bunch of shit for the same time so it all pops up, right? And then I have my little triage list that I work through and I suppress them as I get them done. But I just pop them all up at once so I don't have shit dinging me all the time, right? Now you can't suppress it. You can clear it, but it just clears it off the screen. It doesn't actually complete it. So when you actually go into the Reminders app, you have all this shit that's not completed, but you completed it. And if you don't remember, right, it's confusing.
Right. You know, that makes things for someone like me even worse because I make a list because I don't like lists. and I have to have everything checked off the list.
Well, yeah, and
That would just,
in particular for me, like let's say email. Email's going to pop up here shortly. I do it twice a day, once in the morning and then once in the early evening, late afternoon. Right? It depends on which day I do it at different times because I have class scheduled. Dude, if I that fucking thing's sitting there not completed, and the next one pops up, which one am I doing? Which one am I suppressing? I mean, it's simple when there's only two because fuck it, I'll just suppress both of them.
right.
But I have like 16 things I remind myself to do every day. And they'll double, they're duplicate. That's 32 because I do them twice a day. I don't understand. Why would you do that? That makes no sense to me. And of course, it doesn't make sense to me because I wasn't on the team that decided to do it. But I'd really like to hear or read somebody's explanation as to why they changed that basic human computer interaction. In particular, because at least as long as I've been doing it, and I've been doing it quite a long time, it's always been the same. So why would you change that? I don't understand how that's supposed to be an increase in productivity. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think this perhaps sometimes ever since the passing of Steve Jobs, that Apple takes on this persona that they're always going to tell their customer what they want. Um, but there's a difference that Steve Jobs had this vision that was many, many, many years out. I can't imagine, not that I've ever met him, see him speak, but just in terms of people that I know that do know him, I can't imagine that he would be forcing this type of change all the time. I mean, it's with every OS. There's really no reason to have this many changes.
No.
I mean, if anything, why not give the user the choice from all the different overlays that you've had? Because maybe some of those things work better. I mean, that's not very difficult for the operating system. It's choose your workflow.
Right.
And if you have there might be a different additional attributes you can choose from later, but why continue to force people down a path that they don't want to be down?
Well, even Windows allows that from a human computer interaction standpoint. They allow you to put the shell in classic mode. Right, you're not stuck with the Windows Vista forward ribbon, right? You can put it into a start button classic mode. Well, and they learned their lesson really quick with Windows 8 on that one, right? Because
Oh,
they tried to force people into Metro, and fuck you.
no, I don't want that. I mean, I am not a fan of Windows in any way, shape, or form. Um, I pretty much hate it. Um, Difficult to go away from certain applications. I still like Microsoft Visio. I wish they would have something like that available on Mac. I don't like the other um, CAD-like applications that exist. But for me, from a user standpoint, I don't like the Windows operating system.
Yeah,
For me,
I'm with you on that, man. I actually like Mac on Office better than Mac on Windows, um,
yeah,
especially the newer versions. And for me, I've always liked it more. Um, it's less bloat.
yeah.
But why do you think they've never made Visio? I've never seen a Visio version for well, anything but Windows.
I don't know. I mean, there's other CAD-like drawings,
Yeah,
but
like
it's just
Dia
not.
and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not to me. They're not technology-focused drawings. They're more for architecture. Um,
Yeah, there's OmniGraffle and shit like that. But dude, I don't know about well, and probably because you and I both started as network engineers. Everybody used Visio. That's like the de facto
yeah.
template set for network diagramming is Visio.
Yep.
And I've always wondered why you produce everything else from the Office suite and beyond for Mac, but not Visio.
I don't even know if they have Microsoft Project for Mac.
Well, that's a good question. You're right. Shit, do they? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
I don't think they do.
Have to check that shit out. Um,
That's a good question.
yeah, but this is the big reason why for me, I use things like we've talked about this whenever I use Evernote because it's cross-platform. So if I want to pull up my Mac, pull up a Windows, pull up my Android, everything's there. Um, I use primarily Android. Like right now, I'm doing this off an Android tablet. By the way, this is the first non directly from Google Nexus product that I've actually enjoyed, which is this Samsung tablet. Maybe because of the S Pen is probably the only reason why I like it. I don't know, um, but I'm really enjoying it. But I can make even the Samsung tablet. I can provide the workflow that's going to work best for me.
Yeah.
I'm not just stuck with pure Samsung's version. I can make it work for me.
Right.
But Apple, you're boxed in, and I don't like being boxed in.
Well, there's a plus and a minus to it, man. For me, I like the closed ecosystem when I don't have to break out of it because it works well. I mean, everything works well together. Um,
So what I heard you just say is you're against open source.
um, in some
Joking
aspects,
about
yeah, sure.
it.
Yeah, sure. In some aspects, especially when it turns into religious zealotry.
Yeah. Like according to what the Sultan.
Uh, I'll generalize.
Sultan.
Anybody that uses Arch.
Oh, wait a minute. I like using.
Um,
Oh, I have always gone by the aspect of use the best tool for the job, whatever that is, and I don't care what the tool
I
is.
agree, man. I agree.
Use it.
I totally 100% agree. But that's why I sit back now and look at this and think, well, okay, so I have iOS 10. Um, I haven't upgraded my watch yet. I was going to upgrade my Macs um, to Mac OS Sierra for the sole purpose of getting Siri on the desktop. But now I'm waiting for that because I'm like, wait a minute, dude. They fucked me on my workflow on my mobile devices. Do I really want to do this? Um,
I think you should do it because I just want to hear you complain about it next week.
Somebody has to ask these questions, man. All these lapdogs in the media are jacking off because Apple's so brave for removing a 3.5 millimeter hole in the fucking case. That's brave.
I don't know why that's brave,
Yeah, I
but
don't either, man. That's why I'm making fun of it.
yeah. You know what? I will take my Mac when I arrive back to the state of confusion and people of small minds. Uh, I will take my MacBook and update it. So it'll be on Monday. So next Friday, I'll tell you what I think of it.
Yeah,
See
because
what.
Siri, I do like Siri more than OK Google. Although, although,
I do.
although, it's way easier to accidentally activate Siri through similar words like Sirius than it is because nothing sounds like OK Google. You know what I mean?
But you can also change the OK Google to whatever you want.
Yes, yes. You
I don't think
couldn't
I don't think
originally. You couldn't, and now you can, and I think it's a big bonus.
I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'm actually thinking about buying. What is it? The Amazon? Is it Echo?
The Echo,
Is
yeah.
that the one?
Hmm.
Um, is that the one there? I saw a demo of it the other day. It looked pretty cool of the different things because it's taking natural language
Yes,
in there,
yes,
and I mean, literally, it was you name it, whatever you kind of want, and you're like, hey, play Sebastian Bach, and it connects up, and it'll start playing. Hey, here are the most popular ones.
right.
So it's taking a lot more natural language.
Yeah, yeah. That goes back to I don't remember what episode it was. It was in the early 20s when we talked about digital virtual assistants. And
Yeah,
that's part of the
I don't
limitation
know.
now, like with Siri and OK Google and some of the other shit I've looked at, is you basically have to learn their language, and there's still like this sandbox they live in where they can't interact with the desktop for you, which is interesting.
Right.
I really want that, man. I mean, I don't know why I can't say, "Hey Siri, open up this app and fucking do this."
Well, you can say it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You can certainly say it. It's just not going to do anything.
Hey, my
Um,
friends, there's something else I can say right now too. Anybody want to guess what it is?
yeah, pretty much already know that one is also. I haven't played around with Siri in a while because I just don't use Apple
Hmm.
to be able to say whether or not as to how it would compare. Might be something I'll look into because I am interested in these digital assistants because my personality is very much a thinker, someone that's going to theorize on things. I don't do well with the day to day detail oriented tasks, so that's why I have to use technology, digital assistants, and things like that. So I will do it because it's just not because I don't like lists. It's
Yeah.
just one of the things I don't like them. I want to get things checked off. So those digital assistants are to me very important.
Yeah, well, and I would add to that, and and argue that I agree, and I think they're very important for human productivity and how we interact with them. The human-computer interaction piece of it, I think, is ultra important. Um, and that's one thing I have to say that I don't think I remember Android ever materially changing. Android's Android, and I seem to recall the years I've used it that it's always been rather consistent in how you interact with it. Like the concept of push and hold and a drop menu, right? That's never changed. Whereas now with this unlock, how the iOS 10 unlocks, dude. It used to be with the fingerprint scanner, you could just hold it and it would unlock, right? Or you could put your pin in and it would unlock. No, you have to hold it and then press the button, or you have to put the pin in and then press the home button. There's like this now. It's like a double tap of sorts.
I almost wonder if they're doing that because of some type of screen scraping vulnerability that they may um, have come across.
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I don't know. I've been wondering
But
about it
nice, nice.
for about a week. Why they've added these additional steps to the workflow of just unlocking or interacting with the lock screen. I don't know,
Right.
man. Yeah,
Well,
you might be right. You might be right.
the one thing that and I don't know this about Siri because I haven't used Apple products for this, but the one thing that I really like about Google is that when I wind up putting things into it, it doesn't do very well so far from what I've noticed, with like the natural language search. But if you put it in writing, it catches the key phrases. It lets you know, hey, you've got a flight coming up tomorrow and you need to leave by this time.
Yeah.
It's catching those things with the what are they called, the now cards.
Hmm.
I make a list, a reminder list. It will remind me. Although I don't have to go and say, hey, set a reminder.
Right.
It's catching those words. It sees that you have it in there, and it's acting like that assistant.
Yeah.
Hey, you've got a meeting. You need to be, you need to prepare for at this time.
And I really like that, man.
So
That's super helpful. Because it's proactive, and that's how the technology should be at this point. There's no reason it can't be. It clearly can. Um,
I don't know if Siri has that capability or not. I've
no,
never looked.
no, not that I've seen, man. Not that I've seen. I haven't interacted with her too much since I upgraded to 10, just because I've been dealing with the other bullshit. And it was midterm week, so I'm tired.
Yeah, I haven't had to worry but too much about that in terms of where I'm currently doing some
Yeah,
teaching because the lab environment is still not done. Just put that out there.
it was when I left.
It's redonkulous, that is for sure. I don't even know what to say.
I'll quote Conor McGregor. Beg me.
Yeah.
Man, did you see that shit at that press conference for 205 when that dude behind him was
Oh
talking
yeah.
shit and he turns around, he's like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And then somehow that guy in the crowd started taunting his opponent. That was
Yeah.
classic, man. The dude dressed up like a reporter and then just ripped into the guy. That was classic.
um, Connor is just all the shots.
Well, and then the
Well,
rumor now, man, is that after this bout, he's taking a year off because his girlfriend's having a kid.
oh
Yeah,
really? He said that? I didn't.
there apparently is going to be a press conference at some point, but the news has leaked, so to speak, and that's been the rumor, is that they're pregnant and they're going to take a year off. I mean, with his money, I don't blame him.
He doesn't have to. I mean, in reality, after this fight, he does not have to fight ever again if he
No,
doesn't want to.
no, no. Especially if he stopped buying cars and shit. And I can't imagine the guy's being done with his money. It doesn't strike me
No,
that way.
no,
Um, but I don't know, man.
dude. He only made this year after this fight. He probably netted around 50 million.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would guess so.
You don't have to do everything ever again.
It's a lot
So
of money, man.
yeah,
It's a lot of money.
And speaking of, as we do, I know we'll have to end it up on this segment. We've got Michael Bisping versus Dan Henderson 2.
Left hook Larry versus the H
You know,
bomb.
yeah, here's I like Michael Bisping. I just think I mean ever since he was on the UFC, the UFC, fighter reality show, whatever that was called at the
Tough.
time. Yeah, tough. There you go. He's always been one of these guys that I think is a quality fighter. Um, and maybe he was someone that was always the victim of everyone else using all of this TRT. Because the people that he's lost to We're all on TRT.
Every single one of them, man. Every
Right.
single. And wait, and not just like I'm 40 and my test is a little low, so I'll take a little TRT. We're talking like 15 times the normal amount of
Right.
testosterone.
Yeah, now he did lose to Luke by submission, but that and Luke's never, as far as I know, has ever been accused of it. But for the people who have like beat up Michael Bisping have been all on TRT in terms of like really, getting it to him. But Bisping, to me, I mean, I don't know if he's true championship quality. He has the belt right now, but he's always been a quality fighter. I mean, you do not underestimate, what Michael Bisping brings to the table. He doesn't have one shot knockout power really. What he's got is, it's like death by a million paper cuts. He's going to keep hitting you, and they're going to take a toll over you, and eventually, boom, you're on the ground. But you can never count out Dan Henderson's right hand. I don't know why he doesn't take people to the ground anymore. I mean, the guy's a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah,
Wrestler.
undeniably a world class wrestler, man. I don't know either,
I don't,
dude. He just
doesn't do that.
he
He
just
just wants the hand.
well, he has a hell of a chin, and he has huge power. He's kind of a I don't want to say a modern version of Chuck Liddell because I think he's actually been fighting longer than Chuck Liddell did because the fucker's old.
Yeah, I mean, I think him and Chuck Liddell are about the same age.
Roughly,
Just,
them and Randy Couture, they're all around the same age, yeah.
yeah. I mean, right now Dan Henderson kind of reminds me of what was the Russians in Rocky 4.
Oh yeah.
Steve Vladimir or whatever.
Dragunov or
He
something.
just walked around with his right hand and he's just ready to unload it. And when he hits, it's devastating.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, wait, and Dan Henderson's logo is him flying through the air and not and dropping that second huge fucking hit on Michael Bisping. That's his fucking logo.
yeah, yeah,
So can you imagine having to go in and fight that guy, knowing that his logo is him knocking you out,
yeah.
and not like just like a tap knockout, like out fucking stiff cold.
Right. Oh yeah, he was toast.
Yeah, man.
But with that said, I'm not getting the UFC fight.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not either, man. I'll read about it tomorrow or the next day. With the fuck ever.
I'll watch the YouTube highlights later.
Yeah.
On it to see it because there's not another fight on the card that I am interested in seeing.
You know what's more interesting to me is a story, man. So there was that next UFC with BJ Penn in Manila in the Philippines, and that crazy fucking president they have now.
Yeah.
They were going to drug test all the employees of the UFC, and if they tested positive, they were going to fucking revoke their passports and detain them. So they canceled the UFC.
Yeah.
Well, and they canceled it because of BJ Penn being hurt. But dude, they've replaced headlining fighters before. You know what I mean?
Pen's not a headliner anymore.
Yeah, but he's the headliner of that. I mean, dude, it is fucking Manila.
I wouldn't go.
Fuck no. Why the fuck would you want to go to the Philippines?
No, definitely would not. Definitely would not. But I am interested in, everyone's talking about, I would like to see Ronda Rousey come back to fight. There's rumors that she's going to do it for the
in December, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the rumor. The same card that Connor's on.
No. That she's past that, man. She's not going to be on the New York card. It's after that.
After that one, is that the end of the December one?
Might be the end of December or New Year's Eve, like right after it, because I think they have one. They always have one the 31st, New Year's Eve, and then there's one I think like the second week of December. I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I hope she doesn't come back.
Why is that?
I saw a quote from Chris Cyborg this morning. I saw Ronda Rousey shadow box and her shadow won.
I do want to see Ronda come back.
She'll get fucking wrecked, dude. Wrecked.
I don't know. She's lost before.
She has, man. We've seen this narrative before with Gina Carano. Fucking lost. Or had a really close fight, went off and did a bunch of movie bullshit and came back and got fucking wrecked. And then never fought again. And part of that was fucking Showtime imploding, but
right. It's all going to depend on whether or not Ronda puts in the same type of work that she did when she lost in judo. If she puts in that type of work and she wants it, I think she'll be fine. If she doesn't, and she does do like what Gina Carano did, she's done.
I think she's done for the simple fact of where she trains. That dude's a fucking vampire, man. Edmund?
she does not have a good trainer
No,
at all.
no. Neither does her boyfriend.
No, that's why he keeps losing. Also,
Yes. Ah.
you know, they if she doesn't get out of that camp, I mean, yeah, I mean, she's going to lose. It would not shock me if she loses again here, purely because this camp is not properly training her for the fight. At least, I mean, at least from a amateur's aspect, and seeing that this guy keeps saying the same thing over and over. Oh, you're doing good. You're doing good. Clearly, you're not. Where's the fight preparation?
Right.
I don't see any of it. I mean,
Well,
she would be better going back and hanging with the Diaz brothers again and getting them to train her.
yeah. Yeah, go to
So
Caesar
at least
Gracie. Sure. Here's
yeah,
the thing, man, and I've said this is one of the things I've said before. You've known people that say, "Oh man, you're the smartest person I know," but if you're the dumbest, what the fuck does that mean,
yeah,
right? So all this time, people have been saying how great Rhonda is and feeding that smoke up her ass. And look, I don't have a personal problem with her, and I like her, and I like her as an athlete, especially having daughters, right? But part of her success undeniably is how absolutely abysmally bad everybody else is around her. I mean, her knocking out Betch Kohea with one shot wasn't just a function of how good Ronda was. It was also a function of how fucking horrendous Betch Kohea is, right? And nobody
right.
talks about that. I mean, the only people that have kind of given her competition, those have been good fights. Like, I'd like to see her fight Misha Tate again. And I
But
want Misha Tate to win. I love the cupcake.
yeah. uh, you know, Misha Tate's been solid. I mean, can't put anything that it's not Ronda's fault that the caliber of competition she's been put against has not necessarily been very good.
I don't disagree. I don't
You know,
disagree.
right? It's just like, when people say in NFL, I just played the team that was in front of me.
Sure.
I'm fighting the person that's in front of me. I can't help that. But there's no denying that, judo has been around for a very long time, and she was absolutely a world-class judo competitor.
Absolutely true.
I mean, that's no different than saying, hey, I went from college football where I'm Tim Tebow. I am probably arguably the best college player ever. And you go to the pros and it just doesn't translate.
Right. Well, I mean, small fish, big pond, small fish, right?
Yep. But I still would like to see her fight.
I don't, man. I think she should take her money and fucking retire. Be done with it. Why do you want to get beat up like that? Because she's going to get knocked out again. She's going to get knocked out again, too. Because who's she going to fight? You're going to go back and fight all those other scrubs? I mean, your only interesting fights are Misha and Holly. And Holly's lost 2 in a row, but I guarantee you she'd knock Ronda out again. I put money on that shit.
Probably. I would agree with that one. I think that's just a completely style mismatch.
Yep. You just meet somebody sometimes in the world that has your fucking number, and there's nothing you can do about it.
It happens. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what it is. They see something. And the reason why I think that Holly destroys her is because of the kickboxing.
Yeah.
If it was just straight boxing, Ronda could get in close enough. But you do not want to miscalculate when it comes to those kicks. Those kicks is wearing you out.
I'll finish with this, man, and I'll requote Chris Cyborg, who I'm not a fan of, but I thought this was particularly clever. I saw Ronda shadow box in a Shadow 1.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, man. That's episode 30, guys. Human computer action. Don't underestimate how important it is. Don't forget about your workflows, people. Your button orientations. It's important.
That's right. And I'm rooting for Bisping.
I just keep saying, what would Master Yoda do?
The future is constantly in motion.
That's right. Peace, everybody. Have a good weekend. See you next week.